A lot of you have been asking me where to start the novel-based explanation for Magic Emperor, especially if you're following the manhwa and want to continue after chapter 647. So if you've finished reading up to Magic Emperor Manhwa chapter 647, you can start with the Magic Emperor novel at chapter 638. You can check out comment section, I pinned the video. In the previous chapter, we saw Chao fall, leaving Zhuo Yifan calm on the surface, but filled with a storm of rage within. Lin, confident in his victory, prepared a final attack despite warnings from Wu Qingqiu, but Zhuo Yifan, bloodied and furious, rose with a menacing glare, ready to unleash his full wrath. "Let's begin the chapter. These kids still want to fight," sighed exalted Ran, his eyes fixed on the battlefield. The intense struggle unfolding below had long surpassed a simple competition to declare a winner. Now it was a battle to the death. He shook his head and muttered, "What kind of grudge could drive them to such extremes?" Beside him, exalted Bai Mei mirrored his sentiment, his voice heavy with concern. "Let's not focus on their motivations right now. The real problem is this. Even if Lin's soul can handle unleashing that attack again, Zhuo Yifan has no chance of stopping it. The likelihood of this ending with both of them dying is too high. If we could intervene, calling it a draw would be far better than losing them both." Ran's eyes narrowed as he looked toward the judge. "How much time is left?" The judge glanced at the position of the sun before bowing respectfully. "Exalted, there are 15 minutes remaining." Exalted, Bai Mei sighed, his worry deepening. 15 minutes. Just enough for one last, decisive clash. I only hope those two survive it. On the battlefield, tension hung heavy in the air. The golden flames surrounding Lin intensified, growing hotter and more ferocious. Behind him, a massive dragon head formed, glaring menacingly at Zhuo Yifan. The crowd gasped in awe, their excitement bubbling over. For them, witnessing such a destructive attack being unleashed was nothing short of thrilling. But not everyone shared their enthusiasm. Chu Qingcheng, watching from the sidelines, was consumed with worry. Her heart ached as she realized Zhuo Yifan had nothing that could possibly defend against Lin's overwhelming attack. "Young sect leader, Steward Zhuo, please be reasonable." Fiend Yang's voice trembled with desperation. "You've done more than enough. There's no need to throw your life away for the sect." Elsewhere, Yan Mo stood in silent contemplation, his fists clenched tightly. Yu Mei, noticing his demeanor, asked, "Senior brother, are you sympathizing with your former enemy, or are you hoping Lin will finish him off?" Yan Mo's brow furrowed, and after a moment, he replied, "The strong don't need sympathy. But I know this much. After today, one of them will be the best disciple in the Western lands. They'll be the future best in all the Western lands." Yu Mei's eyes narrowed as she watched him closely. Despite his words, Yan Mo's gaze never left Zhuo Yifan. She shook her head, understanding what he refused to admit. Deep down, he was rooting for Zhuo Yifan, admiring his strength and determination. Though they had started as enemies, Zhuo Yifan had earned Yan Mo's respect during their battle, a respect that had quietly transformed into something resembling friendship. The anticipation around the battlefield was palpable. Sect teams and spectators alike held their breath, eager yet anxious to see the fight's conclusion. While most hoped Zhuo Yifan would emerge alive, even if defeated, there were a few, like Zhao Deju and Xuan Xiaoyu, who reveled in the idea of his demise. "Finally," muttered Zhao Deju, a sinister smile spreading across his face, "this punk will leave this world for good." Meanwhile, Lin finished forming his signs, and the power around him erupted, growing exponentially. His body visibly weakened under the strain, but he didn't seem to care. Laughing maniacally, he declared, "Zhuo Yifan, this is the end! Are you ready for my decimating dragon roar?" With a deafening roar, a torrent of molten golden flames surged toward Zhuo Fan, mirroring the earlier attack but with far greater intensity. The crowd fell silent, their eyes glued to the scene, unwilling to miss a single moment. Zhuo Fan stood unmoving, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. He glanced down at the unconscious and severely injured Qiao Wei. His expression softened, and he gave a faint shake of his head. "Qiao Wei, you risked your life for me when I couldn't even bring myself to do the same. I've always prided myself on never owing anyone anything, especially not favors. But today, I owe you a debt I can't ignore." His lips curled into a grim smile as determination flared in his eyes. "This time, even if it's more dangerous than before, I'll stake my life. I'll obliterate that arrogant punk." Zhuo Fan raised his hands and began forming his own signs. The azure flames surrounding his dragon soul suddenly vanished, leaving the audience stunned. Instead of morphing into another variation, the dragon soul reverted to its original prismatic form, hovering protectively around him. The crowd erupted in confusion. Why would he abandon his powerful variants for the basic dragon soul at such a critical moment? Ignoring the whispers, Zhuo Fan closed his eyes, completing the last of his signs with a calm smile. A flicker of azure flame appeared on the dragon's forehead, followed by streaks of purple lightning that danced across its body like serpents. Dark mist, thick and ominous, coiled around the dragon before vanishing into its head. The culmination of these elements released an aura so overwhelming that even Ye Lin paused, momentarily shaken. "Impossible," Ye Lin muttered, his confidence wavering. "What is this power?" Zhuo Fan's smile widened. "This, Ye Lin, is the result of combining 4 dragon soul powers. I've avoided using it because even I'm terrified of its raw potential. But since I'm already putting my life on the line, why not go all out? If I die from my own power, at least it won't be by your hands." The molten flames roared closer, but Zhuo Fan's voice remained steady. "By the way, did you know the 5 sacred beasts' powers originate from primal chaos? They were once part of a whole. So while you think these powers can't mix, I say otherwise. But even if my theory is wrong, we'll find out soon enough." As if to emphasize his point, a golden flame, the very same decimating golden flame Ye Lin wielded, ignited on the dragon's forehead. Ye Lin's eyes widened in disbelief. "How? How did you—" Zhuo Fan smirked. "Simple. My demonic dragon stole a small fragment of it from you. Consider it a parting gift. And as luck would have it, your flame was the missing piece I needed to perfect this fusion." With the addition of the golden flame, the prismatic dragon soul began to stabilize. The azure flame and purple lightning merged seamlessly, with the Keelan's red glow acting as a furnace to refine their union. The crowd watched in awe as the combined flames took on a terrifying new form. Black flames streaked with purple surged. From the dragon's forehead, radiating an unparalleled destructive aura. The molten flames Ye Lin had unleashed disintegrated upon contact, unable to advance even an inch further. But this newfound power came at a cost. Zhuo Fan staggered, blood pouring from his mouth as his body trembled under the strain. He laughed weakly, his voice laced with both triumph and pain. "Just as I expected, this power is beyond anything I can control. But if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me, Ye Lin." The battlefield stood still, the fate of both combatants hanging by a thread.